Well, a newly declassified report from the United States Office of the Director of National Intelligence shows that high-ups in the government remain unsure about the origins of the coronavirus. Joining us now with more details is Yahoo Finance's Anjalee Khemlani. Anjalee, what's the latest?
That's right, Rochelle. So we got finally a peek at the declassified version of the report from the intelligence community, really looking at two theories that have been prominent in the origins of COVID. The first, of course, being the natural animal spillover, as scientists have concluded from what happened, making the Wuhan animal market the epicenter, as well as the lab leak theory, the idea that one of the institutes in Wuhan were basically ground zero for this. And so the intelligence community has looked at this and has been kind of split over it. So what this report told us is that both of those theories are still in play, according to the intelligence community. There were some reports of potentially sick researchers in the fall of 2019 in Wuhan, potentially having COVID symptoms. This has debunked that, essentially saying that there was no proof, at least found that they had any symptoms synonymous with COVID. It also looks at what kind of coronaviruses were being studied at the time in the lab. There's suggestions that gain of function research was being done on SARS-CoV-2, but there's no proof that that existed in these labs. And the only thing that really came out were some safety concerns when there was an inspection in 2020. Now, the report makes note specifically that it does not address the origins of the report and the hypotheses, just looking at the one Wuhan Institute. So it does preclude any other sources. It didn't look at the market, for example, and that all the intelligence agencies, so all these different agencies that are part of the community, are still looking at what caused it. And this is just based on intelligence reports. So if you take a look at the breakdown, we knew a little bit earlier than this report that the different agencies had different suggestions on what it could be. The Department of Energy and the FBI, for example, having some attention to the lab leak theory, while a lot of other agencies looked at, for example, the animal spillover idea, including the World Health Organization, on that bandwagon. And so this really sets up an ongoing look. At least we have this view of the report as a result of President Joe Biden signing into law the declassification after Representative Josh Hawley, passed this bill. So it's the first view. It's the first sort of understanding layer of what we're looking into for this pandemic.
And we know that social media always has a field day with any sort of data that's speaking about COVID origins. But what are the experts saying about this report?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because the experts are kind of annoyed that this is still an intelligence report and that a lot of the focus has been on what the intelligence community can ascertain. Really, the idea that, there's a lot of geopolitical factors at play, not trusting China being one of them. So I did speak to one of our favorite virologists on the show, Dr. Angie Rasmussen, and she told me that the biggest issue is that it suggests the origin of the pandemic or intelligence or political matter when it's really a scientific one, and the evidence base supports the latter. And that includes the samples collected from the Wuhan market. We never got those samples from the animals themselves, which is sort of a break in the link of genetic sequencing, but at least the market samples are still being studied. And so those are where we should be looking for those answers.
Certainly continues to be a political football everywhere you look on social media. Thank you so much for getting us up to speed, Anjalee Khemlani there.